Okay, I am here with my good friend Iris. Say hi.
Holla.
And we will be both making an argument about why you should watch a show called Helluva Boss.
By Viv Z Pop.
Yes, by Viv Z Pop on YouTube. The show is about these low level demons in hell who create a business to accept assassination contracts from sinners who have died and gone to hell on people in their life that they want dead.
Frequently, these people are the people that are the cause of them going to hell.
Yes.
But that's not a hard and fast rule.
That is true, yeah. What do you like about Hell of a Boss?
So I think, for starters, it is free. But moreover, it is very good quality. And the team that makes this, they are very dedicated to making this show as great as they can possibly make it.
Yeah, I would very much agree. It doesn't hurt that it's free, that you don't have to pay a subscription fee to watch it. And another thing that I really like about it is it's such an independent project. Because it's on YouTube, it's just made by people who are very passionate about animation and storytelling, and there's no studio pressure or anything.
There are no advertisements either, which I think for a lot of things on YouTube nowadays is a big point of difficulty for creators because they feel pressured to make more and more and more content in order to satisfy the sponsors that are paying them, the ad sponsors. So the fact that they don't really rely on that income and that they rely on the community itself that enjoys the show really tells you that they care more about the community watching the show than making the corporate overlords happy.
So the main characters in our cast are Blitz, the O is silent, who is the boss of this little business of theirs.
The business being IMP.
Yes.
Immediate Murder Professionals.
Indeed. We also have Moxie and Millie.
Yes.
Who are his main, I suppose you could call them henchmen or something like that for these assassination contracts.
Yeah, and they're very much in love.
Yes.
They're despite being vicious killers at times, they are totally savvy lovers.
A rather wholesome couple dynamic.
Yeah, it really is.
Moxie and Millie.
Yeah, very satisfyingly wholesome.
Yeah. Maybe not something you expect from demons, but it is very sweet. Often when we see them on missions, Millie is often making sure that Moxie's okay and everything.
She pretty much, I mean, they really both do, but Millie is kind of the powerhouse of the relationship.
The really protective one, I suppose, too, yeah.
Yeah, the aggressively protective.
Yeah.
But she will throw herself into danger.
Yeah.
For the sake of Moxie.
Yeah.
And vice versa, but I said.
Other characters we have are Stolas. They're kind of, I guess you could call him a bit of a benefactor behind the whole business, but mainly the love interest to Blitz.
Yes, though Blitz does not want to admit that, is vehemently against admitting that.
That is true. And it's also funny because Stolas is one of the major demons in hell, demon royalty.
Yeah, he's kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal.
Yeah, he's whenever imps come across him, or even I guess like like the succubi,
Mm-hmm.
they're all like, oh damn, like gotta be on best behavior, or gotta cater to him as much as he needs, and so he's a very prominent figure in hell.
He owns the grimoire, which is the book that the employees at IMP use to access the living world and get back to hell. Really, the final member of the main cast that we have, the main cast being characters who appear in pretty much every episode, would be Luna,
Yes.
the receptionist of IMP, who is a hellhound and the adopted daughter of Blitz, although she does not like to admit that.
Yes. She has her slip. She slips up though.
She does.
She slips up.
Like, you can tell that in certain moments she certainly does like have like at least some sort of like thankfulness or gratitude that Blitz did adopt her and that he tries, but I'm gonna guess from her life before that she doesn't really want to let on that she appreciates it.
She's that character that can be very short-tempered and aggressive, especially if her feelings are involved. Like her true feelings, usually it gets masked with like anger or or backlash at Blitz or
Moxie.
Or
often.
Moxie, yeah. Moxie kind of gets the
Moxie does get
crap end of the stick.
He does. He's almost like the Meg from Family Guy of IMP, I suppose.
Yeah, but he's still loved.
He is.
He's
and,
very much still loved.
And he's still capable. The dynamic they often have is Blitz is doing like random things or sometimes like off-kilter things, and Moxie's kind of the straight man that tries to he tries to reel things back in, not always very successfully, and it often ends up in the two of them getting into a big argument.
Yeah, but there are some pretty good times where they all get along and they're co-conspirators in their mischief. At one point in one of the episodes, they're at an opera. They're trying to make the opera go terribly, terribly wrong. They say, shoot, how do we make this bad? And Moxie says, we can't. There's no way. You can't make opera bad.
That's fact.
That's fact. There is nothing bad about opera. That's fact. And then Blitz says, unless we ruin it somehow. And then it shows all three of them playing with the stage light.
Yeah.
Making the performer run across the stage rapidly. And we just get this great close-up of them with these just garbage-eating grins.
Yeah.
So they very much do get along. It's not like adversity all the time. Or animosity all the time.
Yeah. Also, like earlier in their episode when they first are starting their next assignment to kill someone, and they see that their target is tying a noose for himself out of like his own IV, and they're all like, well, he's doing our job for us. And then you just start eating popcorn watching him get ready to tie it.
Should we go in and tie it for him?
Yeah.
Well, would you look at that? You did our job for us. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my god.
Yeah, that is a quote from that same episode in which
the opera scene.
Yeah, in the opera scene when some cherubs from heaven are trying to save their target. And so that's another great moment of them, of demons working together.
Yeah.
Because they're all fighting the cherubs and trying to kill the guy in the same time.
And I guess speaking of cherubs, they have, I guess, antagonists or groups of antagonists that are recurring, or they will be recurring. Like, it's very heavily implied that they will be back for revenge. So it's kind of fun that they have like a running roster of people that they've just really pissed off.
Yeah, creating their own little rogues gallery.
Yeah, they really do a fantastic job of of building up that roster, and they're all different. They're all very different antagonists, and you know they each get into their own trouble with IMP in their own ways. None of them are redundant. They're all unique instances, like very unique. Something that I think being set in hell and the living world really lends itself to. You know, you can have the cherubs, you can have the succubi, you can have hellhounds, you can have
the dwarves, that human agency that's trying to hunt them.
Right. The like paranormal or the, you know, angels and demons agency thing, or
just like really hard targets to kill, or even
or crazy ass humans.
Also, so the show is overall a comedy, and so one of the most important parts of a comedy is to make the audience laugh. It is not for kids.
Hell. It's hell.
The show is not for kids. It is set in hell. Yeah.
No, it is definitely not even. Yeah, no. There are all kinds of jokes, and the crap they sling at each other is fantastic. It's one of those things where there are so many.
Yeah, there are so many jokes.
Kinky stuff and sexual stuff are both individually and
mutually.
I guess
conjointly.
Something together, whatever. They're both fairly frequent realms in which they make their jokes and throw shade at each other, and
they all get into a lot of different hijinks on their missions or just in each episode. Another thing that I think is really good about the show is I think it has very good representation. How I myself am not LGBTQ+, but I do think it does have good representation of its LGBTQ+ characters.
Yeah, I would say I would agree. They really they don't even bat an eye.
Yeah.
Whenever it's, you know, like whenever it's Stolas and Blitz getting down.
Yeah.
Really, like the only big deal that they make about that is, you know, the fact that Blitz he doesn't want to admit his love for Stolas, and you know, so it's both like a romantic and sexual attraction that you know they really just like, it's so incredibly nonchalant, and it's really very satisfying, and it's not like they're trying to push it, like they're not baiting anything.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's just like, this is part of the show, done, that's it.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think Blitz is canonically pansexual. I think Stolas is canonically sexually queer, I believe.
Okay.
I believe Moxie and Millie are canonically bisexual. We do briefly at one point meet Millie's sister, who is trans.
Yes, canonically trans. Played by a trans voice actor.
Indeed.
Which is another thing.
That is also very important.
Yeah, that's you know, a lot of times media go with, oh, we'll just have some like cis person play the role of a trans person, and
it can come off in bad taste.
Yeah. It's like, you know, it's also like it's a show on the internet. Like, really, if you couldn't find a trans woman to voice the trans woman on the internet, something is wasting your frontal lobe, or you're just bigoted. So and then they really don't, the sexual stuff and then like the kinky stuff, they also don't judge on that either.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Because it is hell,
because it's hell and nobody fucking cares.
Yeah. Yeah.
to quote Blitz.
Yeah, it's very, pretty much everyone there is very sex positive. I don't recall ever seeing any instances of homophobia or transphobia or anything, which is very refreshing.
Yeah. Again, it's not even, you can't even really evaluate it on whether or not there were moments of transphobia or homophobia or queerphobia at all, because they just treat it as it is. It's just a part of life.
Yeah.
There are people who are and there are people who aren't, and whatever. They're just cool, you exist, righteous.
Another thing that I think could be tied to that is it does also have some very good character moments. We did talk about how really wholesome Moxie and Millie are.
Yes.
And how they always have each other's back.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
But also the character of Stolas is going through a lot in the show. He's in a marriage to someone who he doesn't love and who is abusive towards him. And
it's an arranged
true, yes.
marriage. And this is something that he found out when he was
10 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, very young, and he was not thrilled about it at the beginning, and he is certainly not thrilled about it now.
True. But he does make it clear that he goes through all of it because of how much he cares about his daughter, Octavia. It is shown that even though sometimes he doesn't always understand Octavia, that he cares for her on an immense level.
Yeah, it very much unconditionally.
In the episode when he takes her to the theme park, Lululand, towards the end of the episode, she does talk about how, I guess, difficult it was since it was found out that Stolas was having an affair with Blitz, and the fighting between Stolas and his wife Stella, how that has really taken a toll on Octavia. There's a great moment between Octavia and Stolas in which she tells all this to Stolas, and he does try to find a way to word, I guess, how he had been feeling because of Stella.
He doesn't mention anything about it being it was an arranged marriage and blah 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 blah. He kind of fumbles around with his words, and he's trying to explain this to her, but he kind of gives up on that and just decides to tell Octavia, look, whatever is going on, anything that's happening, I'm not going to leave you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always going to be here for you. I want to be here for you. And then they walk out together, and Stolas is carrying Octavia, and it's very cute and it's very innocent. The way that they both understand each other at that point is very apparent.
Also, what often leads to a lot of good character moments is some of the interactions between Stolas and Blitz, because you can tell that even though they talk sexually a lot, there is just a lot of care that they both have for each other, but are hesitant to really express it.
Which, much like the Luna sharing her actual feelings, or opening herself up to her own feelings. This is kind of a recurring theme as well, but specifically with Blitz and Stolas, they just can't, especially Blitz, can't commit to being forward or being fully open.
Blitz, it is shown at some point that he kind of has this, I guess, fear that if he starts to outwardly show someone how much he cares about them, that they will leave him. And I think that is one of the major things with his dynamic with Stolas. He is fine with meeting up for hookups, but he wants to try to limit the I guess, truly romantic gestures, at least at first, because he worries that if he opens himself too much up to Stolas, that Stolas may possibly reject him or leave. Because at one point, Stolas asks Blitz when they go on their first date, why did it take you so long to ask me out all this time?
It really has been a long time. Like, this has been a relationship that's been going on, I mean, since Stolas found out that he was going to be in an arranged marriage.
Pretty much, yeah, because it does show in that episode that they first meet in that around that time period.
Yep.
And you can see just like that glint of awe or infatuation in little baby Stolas's eye. Yeah, with that, I'd say this podcast comes to a close. Thank you very much, Iris, for joining me on this.
For sure.
I hope you had a good time.
Yes, I did.
Awesome.
I hope your professor had a good time too, and yeah. I hope. Yeah, but I mean, yep, I think that's probably really all that I can.
Yeah.
Can cover on this.
I think so.
It's one of those things where you really you gotta give it a shot. Episodes aren't super long, but they're just right.
Yeah.
They're satisfying, but they're not like it's not like sitting down to watch, I don't know, like Game of Thrones for like an hour-long episode.
Yeah, they're usually around 15-minute long episodes or so. Yeah.
Some of the more like story heavy and background heavy episodes, like 25.
Yeah, or so.
So
yeah,
for somebody like me, that's pretty good.
Yeah, the show is very accessible if you're of a certain age, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks again for joining me and arguing about why people should at least give Helluva Boss a shout.
Yeah.
Give it a chance. It is a very fun, very funny show.
Yeah.
And it's a good way to support like independent creators.
Yep, I agree.
Thanks a lot for listening.
Yes, thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Stay tuned.